Welcome back to our YouTube channel where we explore interesting and thought-provoking books. Today we're diving into the captivating world of The Art of Thinking Clearly by Rolf Dobelli. This book is a treasure trove of insights and wisdom that will transform how you approach decision-making in your daily life. Let's get started on this fascinating journey into the art of thinking clearly. So, let's dive into the summary of this incredible book. But before we dive into the content, I kindly request a moment of your time to appreciate this video by liking it, subscribing to the channel, and ringing that notification bell. Your support means a lot to me. Thank you so much. The Art of Thinking clearly aims to illuminate our day-to-day thinking hiccups so that we can better avoid them and start making improved choices. Using both psychological studies and everyday examples, the author provides us with an entertaining collection of all of our most common fallacies. Here are the key chapters in this remarkable book, each holding valuable insights and captivating narratives that promise to engage and enlighten readers. Chapter 1. Why you need to think clearly. In the first chapter, Dobelli emphasizes the importance of clear thinking. He discusses how our minds are often clouded by biases, emotions, and cognitive errors that can lead us astray. By recognizing these pitfalls, we can make better decisions and avoid common traps that hinder our ability to think rationally. Chapter 2. The Halo Effect. One of the key concepts addressed in this chapter is the halo effect, which refers to our tendency to let one positive trait of a person or thing influence our overall judgment. Dobelli illustrates how this cognitive bias can lead to poor decision-making and offers strategies to overcome it. Chapter 3. Confirmation Bias. Confirmation bias is another cognitive error explored in depth in this chapter. This bias occurs when we seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs while ignoring evidence that contradicts them. Dobelli reveals the detrimental effects of confirmation bias and provides tips on how to counteract it. Chapter 4. Sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy is a common trap that many of us fall into. It involves continuing to invest time, money, or effort into a failing project or endeavor simply because we have already invested so much. Dobelli sheds light on this cognitive error and offers guidance on how to break free from its grip. Chapter 5. Social Proof. Our tendency to follow the crowd and seek validation from others is explored in this chapter. Dobelli explains how social proof can lead us astray and offers strategies to cultivate independent thinking and make decisions based on rationality rather than conformity. Chapter 6. The Black Swan Fallacy. The concept of the black swan fallacy is discussed in this chapter. This fallacy involves underestimating the likelihood and impact of rare and unpredictable events. Dobelli highlights the importance of preparing for black swan events and adopting a more cautious and forward-thinking approach to decision-making. Chapter 7. The Narrative Fallacy. Our propensity to construct coherent narratives to explain random events is the focus of this chapter. Dobelli delves into the narrative fallacy and how it can distort our understanding of cause and effect. By recognizing the limitations of storytelling, we can make more objective and informed decisions. Chapter 8. Overconfidence Bias. Overconfidence bias, the tendency to overestimate our abilities and knowledge, is explored in this chapter. Dobelli reveals the risks of overconfidence and provides strategies to cultivate humility and self-awareness in our thinking. Chapter 9. The Availability Heuristic. The availability heuristic, our tendency to judge the likelihood of events based on how easily we can recall examples of them, is discussed in this chapter. Dobelli illustrates how this bias can lead to flawed decision-making and offers techniques to mitigate its impact. Chapter 10. The Art of Thinking Clearly. In the final chapter, Dobelli ties together the key lessons from the book and underscores the importance of cultivating clear thinking in our lives. By recognizing and overcoming cognitive biases, we can improve our decision-making skills and navigate the complexities of the modern world with greater clarity and wisdom. Let's continue exploring the additional chapters of the book to gain further insights and knowledge. Chapter 11. Applying the Principles. Once you've absorbed the valuable lessons from The Art of Thinking Clearly, The next step is to apply these principles to your daily life. This chapter offers practical guidance on how to incorporate clear thinking strategies into your decision-making processes. By implementing the strategies outlined in the book, you can start reaping the benefits of improved clarity and rationality in your choices. Chapter 12. Developing your critical thinking skills. Critical thinking is a crucial skill that complements clear thinking. In this chapter, Dobelli discusses the importance of critical thinking and provides tools and techniques to enhance your analytical skills. By honing your critical thinking abilities, you can deepen your understanding of complex issues and make more informed and reasoned judgments. Chapter 13. Navigating uncertainty. Life is full of uncertainties, and learning to navigate ambiguity is an essential aspect of clear thinking. In this chapter, Dobelli delves into strategies for managing uncertainty and making sound decisions in the face of unknown outcomes. By embracing uncertainty with an open mind and a rational approach, you can overcome fear and hesitation and move forward with confidence. Chapter 14. Embracing cognitive flexibility. Cognitive flexibility, the ability to adapt your thinking to changing circumstances, is a key component of clear thinking. This chapter explores the benefits of cognitive flexibility and provides techniques for expanding your mental agility and adaptability. By cultivating a nimble and open-minded approach to problem-solving, you can overcome obstacles and innovate more effectively. Chapter 15. Cultivating mindfulness. Mindfulness, the practice of being present and aware of your thoughts and feelings, is a powerful tool for enhancing clear thinking. In this chapter, Dobelli discusses the importance of mindfulness in sharpening your focus and reducing cognitive bias. By incorporating mindfulness practices into your daily routine, you can increase your mental clarity and emotional resilience. Chapter 16. Learning from mistakes. Mistakes are an inevitable part of the learning process, and embracing failure is essential for growth and development. In this chapter, Dobelli explores the value of learning from mistakes and using them as opportunities for reflection and improvement. By acknowledging your errors with humility and grace, you can cultivate a growth mindset and evolve into a more resilient and insightful thinker. Chapter 17. The Art of Continuous Improvement. Clear thinking is not a destination but a journey of continuous improvement and refinement. In this final chapter, Dobelli emphasizes the importance of ongoing self-assessment and self-improvement in cultivating clarity of thought. By committing to a lifelong pursuit of learning and growth, you can elevate your thinking to new heights and unlock your full potential. The Art of Thinking Clearly by Rolf Dobelli is a practical guide to thinking better and making better decisions. It exposes common thinking errors and provides simple solutions to avoid them, leading to improved clarity and rationality in our daily lives. Rolf Dobelli is a writer and entrepreneur with a PhD in philosophy, as well as the founder of Zurich Minds, a community of high-profile thinkers. He is also a regular contributor at esteemed European newspapers like Die Zeit and FAZ and has written 6 novels. The Art of Thinking Clearly is a fascinating exploration of the cognitive biases that affect our decision-making process and provides practical tips on how to think more clearly. Here's why this book is worth reading. With its encyclopedic approach to human irrationality, it presents a comprehensive overview of the common mental pitfalls we fall into. By backing up its claims with research and evidence, it offers a solid foundation for understanding the reasoning behind our flawed thinking. Through clear and concise explanations, it manages to address complex concepts in an accessible manner, ensuring that the content remains engaging and thought-provoking. Here is a sentence showcasing the greatness of a quote of this book. In daily life, because triumph is made more visible than failure, you systematically overestimate your chances of succeeding. Rolf Dobelli. Those are the individuals who truly deserve to immerse themselves in this extraordinary book. Anyone interested in learning about our psychology. Anyone who wants to improve her ability to make decisions. Anyone who wants to learn how not to fall into the same mind trap again and again. Here are some invaluable insights gleaned from this captivating book. I trust you will find them exceedingly beneficial. Feel free to delve deeper into its wisdom and let it inspire new perspectives and ideas in your journey. 1. We systematically overestimate our abilities in many areas of life. Do you feel that you have a pretty realistic grasp of your abilities? That while others might delude themselves into overestimating their abilities, you don't? If so, you aren't alone. We all tend to view ourselves through rose-tinted glasses. Research has shown that we are overconfident in many areas of life. For example, studies have shown that 84% of Frenchmen consider themselves to be above-average lovers. In reality, it's only possible for 50% to be considered above average, since, statistically speaking, 50% should rank higher and the other half should rank lower. Similarly, research has shown that 93% of U.S. students rank themselves as above-average drivers, and 68% of University of Nebraska faculty rank their own teaching abilities in the top quartile. These numbers show that the majority of us rate our abilities higher than they probably are. Not only that, but we also mistakenly attribute successes to our own abilities and failures to external factors. Researchers even tested this by having a group of subjects take a personality test and then assigning arbitrary scores to the tests. When the subjects were later interviewed, they found that those with good scores believed that the test results had fairly reflected their true abilities, thus successfully assessing their great personalities. Those who received bad scores, however, found the ratings to be useless and that the test itself and not their personality was garbage. Have you ever had a similar experience? If you got an A on a high school exam, for example, you probably felt that you were responsible for your success. If you flunked, you probably thought that it wasn't your fault and that the test was unfair or some other circumstance caused your failure. Knowing this, you should therefore be aware of our tendency to overestimate our knowledge and attribute all our success to our own skills. A good way to overcome this might be to invite an honest friend out to coffee and ask for their candid opinion on your strengths and weaknesses. 2. We can control and predict much less than we think in life. Have you ever thought about why people at casinos throw their dice harder if they want a high number, and gently if they need a low one to win big? These gamblers are suffering from the illusion of control, i.e., the belief that we can influence things that we in fact cannot control. 3. We tend to follow what the group does, and will conform to prevent ourselves from being excluded. When a soloist at a concert puts on a particularly riveting performance, it's not uncommon for someone in the audience to spontaneously burst into applause. Suddenly, everyone else joins the chorus, including you. But why? This is due to a phenomenon called social proof, which makes us feel like our behavior is correct when it matches other people's. We interpret information so that it fits with our self-image and our pre-existing beliefs. Do you consider yourself a good judge of character, whose first impressions of people often prove true later? Many people think this way about themselves, but in fact, it's likely that they are just the victims of confirmation bias. In actuality, we all suffer from confirmation bias, i.e., the tendency to interpret new information in such a fashion that our previous conclusions remain intact. Indeed, it is so common that it is even said to be the mother of all misconceptions. 5. We determine the value of things based on their availability and by comparing them to others. Have you ever gone to a club with a much more attractive friend, looking to meet someone but instead striking out all evening? Why is this? Quite simply, your friend makes people find you less attractive than you actually are. As it turns out, we are not very good at making absolute judgments, relying instead on comparisons. 6. We tend to be engrossed by the interesting, whether compelling stories or exotic explanations. Do you find it difficult to remember the 5 items on the shopping list you composed only 10 minutes ago, yet have no trouble at all remembering the intricate details of the plot of the movie you saw last week? This is because we need information to form meaningful stories before it makes sense to us. Conversely, we are repelled by abstract details. 7. Our attention is very selective and narrow. If something strange was happening right in front of you, like a gorilla running around, you'd notice, right? In fact, you probably wouldn't if you were focusing on something else. Turns out that our focus is very narrow, and we miss everything that occurs outside it. Making decisions can be tiresome, especially when you are faced with many possible choices. In today's world, we face limitless choices about products and lifestyle. Be it finding the right wine or the best university, you are bombarded with options. For most people, it's difficult or even impossible to manage this cornucopia. Indeed, a large selection leads to an inability to come to a decision, and we often just give up instead. 9. We like others if they are attractive, flatter us, or remind us of ourselves. How many beautiful, smiling faces do you see plastered on billboards on a daily basis? It's no mistake. Businesses know that we are all susceptible to good looks and charm. In fact, a single quality, whether beauty, social status, age, etc., produces in us a positive or negative impression that outshines everything else. This is called the halo effect. 10. Feelings guide our decisions more than we think. Would you consider yourself to be a rational decision maker? Try this exercise and see. Decide right now whether or not you are in favor of genetically modified food. How did you come to your decision? A truly rational approach would be to separately consider both the advantages and disadvantages of genetically modified foods. First, assess each pro in terms of importance, and then multiply each by the probability that those advantages will actually occur. Then, do the same with each con. The key message in this book is that we think we are better than we actually are, and we automatically seek out information that confirms us in our pre-existing beliefs. We also have a preference for the exotic, beautiful people and a small rather than a large selection of things. We notice only a limited amount of the things in front of us, and don't know how to make absolute judgments. And our decisions are guided by our emotions and by the way that people around us are behaving. In The Art of Thinking Clearly, author Rolf Dobelli dives deep into many common psychological biases. With specific examples of these thought patterns and ways to overcome them, this book is both entertaining and informative. No matter how smart you think you are, this will shed light on some of the weak points in your thinking and make you wiser. Here are the 3 most interesting psychology lessons from this book. You have much less control over the world than you think. We're not great at determining value because we mostly use availability and bad comparisons to do it. Decision-making reduces your strength of will, especially when you have too many options to choose from. Are you ready to learn how to challenge your inner thought patterns for a healthier mind? Let's begin. Lesson 1. You think you can change things that you have no control over. The illusion of control is a bias that describes how we believe our influence extends to things that are impossible to manipulate. We do this because believing that we have the power to change our situation brings us hope. Don't let this get you down, however, because your life isn't fixed. You can improve many aspects of your life. Let's examine some of the inconsequential things that we think we have control over. One study identified just how much hope the illusion of control can provide. Researchers divided participants into 2 booths. In each booth, sound increased until the subjects told the researchers to stop. The difference was that one had a red panic button that participants could press when the noise became too loud. Even though the button didn't do anything at all, the people with a button in their booth withstood much more noise than those without a button. Similar, placebo buttons are placed throughout our world. If you've ever pushed a button at a crosswalk, most likely it does nothing but change your perception, making it easier for you to wait. Elevator buttons to open and close the doors are the same way. To combat the illusion of control, be wary of your predictions. Rather than worrying about what you can't control, focus only on what you know that you can. Lesson 2. You use availability and comparison to determine value rather than looking at actual pros and cons. Taking your more attractive friend to a club with you is a bad idea. Doing this makes you less likely to score a date. This happens because the comparison to your more attractive friend makes you appear less attractive than you really are. Regardless of what we think, making absolute judgments doesn't come easily to us. Instead, we rely on comparisons to make decisions. We choose the option that looks better instead of examining real pros and cons. This is called the contrast effect and is also why product discounts work so well. If a $100 item becomes $70, we see it as better than an item that is normally just $70 only because of the comparison. Similarly, companies use the idea of scarcity to get customers to buy. When they use phrases like, "today only" or "limited time offer," the brain sees a potential missed opportunity and resorts to making a purchase. If you want to break through these biases of scarcity and comparison, focus on the value of items. When you see something is 30% off or only while supplies last, think only about the costs and benefits of purchasing the item. Lesson 3. Too many options to choose from makes it hard to make choices. In one experiment, researchers tested a hypothesis by selling 24 different kinds of jelly in a supermarket. The next day, they only displayed 6 types of jelly for customers to sample and purchase at a discounted price. On that second day, those conducting the study sold 10 times the amount of jelly as on day 1. This phenomenon that makes decisions hard when there are many options is known as the paradox of choice. Often, rather than trying to make a choice among many different options, we opt for the easier option to make no choice at all. Other research confirms that making decisions in general depletes our energy. Researchers call this decision fatigue. A study on dating sites examined the effects of the stress that comes with choosing between a large variety of potential partners. Their findings determined that, due to decision fatigue, the male brain singles out physical attractiveness as the only criterion on which to judge their options. The Art of Thinking Clearly is a very interesting read. I was familiar with many of these psychological biases before, but this book sheds new light on some I didn't know about. I liked that it gave some specific ways to avoid succumbing to these false ways of thinking, but also wanted to hear more of that. In conclusion, The Art of Thinking Clearly by Rolf Dobelli is a timeless masterpiece that offers invaluable insights and strategies for enhancing your decision-making skills and cultivating a more rational and enlightened approach to life. By applying the principles outlined in this book and embarking on a journey of self-discovery and growth, you can transform your thinking and achieve greater clarity, wisdom, and fulfillment. You can find the link to acquire a copy of this incredible book in the description below. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of clear thinking. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you found this book summary helpful, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more book summaries and insightful content. And share this uplifting summary with someone who may benefit from hearing them. Leave a comment down below if you've read this book or have any other recommendations for us. Until next time, stay awesome and keep learning. Remember, the art of thinking clearly is within your reach. Happy reading and happy thinking.